Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna talk about the 23mm f1.4. I'm gonna take you with me and show you if this is a lens for you, if this is, something you can work with in your daily photographing and video business or your hobby, and talk about some topics, autofocus, ergonomics, and so on, so you can make your own impression if this lens is for you. So let's start the video. Additional information for you guys, I'm filming right now on the XS20, my new camera which I replaced with the X-T4, so stay tuned for another video, when I look at the XS20, when I got my own, imagination of how this camera is, like in a few months. I'm also filming right now on the 23mm f1.4, so you have an impression of how the bokeh looks like. I'm on 1.4 in this lens, so I'm like 1 meter away from the lens, so if the autofocus is good, and I think it is. So let's start with the most important topic of a lens, the image quality, and let me tell you this lens is outstanding. It's in one row with the 18mm f1.4 and the 33mm f1.4. I think these three lenses are one of the best Fujifilm ever made. They are so great, the image quality is so beautiful. You get those rich and deep colors, crazy sharpness all over the sensor. I never had an issue, you have this creamy bokeh, with the f1.4, and I'm really happy with this lens. In terms of image quality, I will blend in some pictures, see for yourself, it's just fantastic. I like the field of view a lot, so that's used for video, it's used for photos, you can use it in a whole bunch of variety. You can use it for portraits, you can use it for landscape, you can use it for street photography, any topic this lens will shine, and I can totally recommend it. I bought this lens instead of the 18mm, which I traded in because, I will go on this later in the video section, but both these lenses are extremely good. In image quality you will have no issues here, whether it's the 26 megapixel sensor or the 40 megapixels, it will shine through every sensor because this lens is fantastic. Let's talk about the ergonomics and the build quality of this lens, and as I can say, this lens is just superb. It's built full out of metal as usual, like almost all Fujifilm lenses, and it's weather sealed. It weighs 375 grams, so it's not the lightest lenses in the Fujifilm lineup, but not the heaviest also. So I think in terms of when I use it with the XS20 or when I use it with the X-T5, I have no issues. It's perfectly balanced in my taste. I'm super happy with it. The aperture ring could be a little bit tighter, like in the 33mm. I think it's the best in this lens. I don't understand why they don't do it in all lenses like the 33, like why don't they have the same aperture ring in all the new lenses? I don't really get that, but it was never an issue for me, and I love the ergonomics of this lens, and it's just beautiful. Let's talk about the autofocus. How is the autofocus? And I think it's really good. It's also in one line with the 33mm and the 18mm, the new versions, and I really never had an issue with it while filming, while doing photography. I always say, like, you have to know how to use your camera, then you will get the best results out of it. I always also have to say that it's not on the best level like Canon's or Sony's. It's not at this level, but 80%, 85%, 90% of your shots will be in focus. I never had an issue with it, and I always got the shots that I wanted. As I said, it's a great autofocus system. It also depends on the camera you use. I use this with the X-T4, I use this with the X-T5, I use this with the XS20, and of course with the newer cameras you will have way better results. But I also used it with the X-T4 and I had great results. When I did this kind of scenario, it always worked. There never was a point where it lost focus, in talking head scenarios. Also when I filmed, it was on point when I wanted it, and because I also know how to use it. And this is really important. You have to learn about your camera and then you will get the best results. Not perfect ones, but for me it was more than enough. So let's talk about close focus distance, which is also a very important topic in a lens. Officially, I think it's like 19 centimeters, but let's do the live view test and see how close I can get to this lens, and you can see for yourself of how the field of view looks like. So I'm coming closer, like maybe it works fine, like to come closer when you have like a rug on the floor, and it doesn't work. So let's see how this goes. So the light is getting too far away. Let's do this. Like so. Is it still in focus? I'm not sure, but I think so. Still in focus. I think this is like this maybe. So I'm almost like touching my nose, touching the lens with my nose. But this is really good, and you won't have an issue here. Just with my huge face, there will be an issue. So let's talk about video, and wow, I have to say this lens, I traded it in for the 18mm f1.4 because, I do portrait videos, and I thought like the 18mm was too much distortion for me when it comes to faces and when I went close, and it was a hard decision for me because I loved the 18mm, and I'm still thinking if I should buy it now, and because for the photography part it's really, really good. But like the 23mm, like in video, it's for me has the perfect focal length to be variable between close focus and long distance, and I just enjoy this lens because the colors, especially paired with the newer Fujifilm camera bodies, it looks so good. It's so good, and when you grade this footage, you see the details, you see the colors, it shines, and the autofocus, like I said, for video is also really good. Detects faces really good, and you have to know how to use your camera, and then this lens will bring you to anywhere you want it to. As you see, it's I'm really excited about this lens because it's one of my favorites. So conclusion, is this a lens for you and a lens you should buy? As always, it's hard to say, it depends, and for me, this lens is like glued to my cameras. I always have it on for photography and for video, and it's just the right field of view for me. My favorites were always the 18 and the 23, like for everyday scenarios. For more portrait style, I think the 33 is my favorite, and the 56, of course. For everyday scenarios where you can photograph everything, like this is the perfect lens. And it's hard to say, who should buy it, but if you have the older version, I had also the older version, you will get way better autofocus. If that's something you're looking forward to, then you may upgrade. You get the weather sealing, also silent autofocus, and also important for video. If you don't have a 23 yet, maybe you just rent it out, maybe you just try it out first and to see for yourself if this is a lens for you, and then buy it, because it's always better to try it out first, see if it works for you and your way for photography. As I can say, I was really excited to make this review about this lens because it is one of my favorites. I think it always will be, and just I can do a glowing recommendation. I don't have negative points about this lens, and I think this says it all. But also important, always make your own experience, make your own impression, and then do the purchase. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, as always, thumbs down. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, have a good night. Or in my case, good night or day or whatever. So, bye.